Do we have too much government?
We need to put people ahead of corporate profits.
This system is so lopsided. This threat is a real threat to democracy.
And I think that's really important. That's something we haven't been doing in this country for a long time.
Where do you start? What do you do? How do you do it?
Access to Democracy and other Eagan community television programming is supported by Thomson Reuters, makers of Westlaw Next and based in Eagan. Through Westlaw Next and other innovative online services, Thomson Reuters is the world's leading source of intelligent information for businesses and professionals. Online at thomsonreuters.com. And by U.S. Federal Credit Union, the member-owned financial institution offering service, value, and experience you can trust to the greater Twin Cities community.
Welcome. First-time guest with Access to Democracy. I'm your usual host, Alan Miller. And as we plod into the 13th year of this program, it's hard for me to believe that we're in year 13, that we've done 1,300 interviews plus, that there's been a book written about the show. Time marches on. And occasionally, Steve Francisco joins us to host, taking the burden off me a little bit. Rajiv Garg is really a most unusual story. Arrived here from India with his family at age 9 with $300 for the entire family, and he's turned into a tycoon. How did that happen?
Well, first of all, thank you, Alan, for a very nice, humble introduction, but it's hard work, and it's really the opportunities that are given in this country, and it truly is a democracy when you come into the country and know that you're going to succeed, and know that there are opportunities everywhere. It's just a matter of working hard, and that's the virtues that I was brought up with. My grandfather, who just passed away at age 99, he came here with literally just a few handicraft samples in his briefcase, and he turned it into a business. And my mom was the oldest of the 9 children that he had, and she came here, and I came with her with my one of my siblings. We have 6 brothers, sisters, and we knew that we wanted to succeed. We knew that this was the land of opportunities, and it truly held to that reputation. And that's what I believe in today, is that democracy is for everybody. It should have an open access system, so your show, Access to Democracy, is perfect, because that's exactly what I believe in.
That is a great commercial for democracy, and it couldn't be said better. You made one very smart decision, of many smart decisions, but one, you went into computer science. See, I originally went into the law. That was a mistake, and here I am now. But you went into computer science, and tell us where that led you.
Well, I grew up in a family of business people, and that's all I knew, was being entrepreneurial. When I was 10, 11, I want to say, when I arrived here, actually, I didn't know a single word of English. So I had to learn English really fast, and once I got to that, because kids have no fear, they'll say anything that spurts out of their mouth, and in our family, I became proficient at it, simply by just natural being within schools. And I started going to our shop that my parents owned on 7th and Hennepin, corner of 7th and Hennepin, called India Bazaar. And
what did they sell?
They sold handicraft goods from India, and then we opened up another store called International Gifts on 7th and Hennepin. So we really were the icon of that Hennepin era, if you remember, in the 70s, where we had Moby Dick and all these other shops along the corridor over there. And my dad always thought that I was going to go into business, and I said, I can always go into business, Dad. I want to do something that is cool, that's innovative. And computer science in the 80s, that's what computers were just coming out, technology was just ramping up, so that's what I wanted to do. So I wanted to
good time to get on board.
It was perfect. And I went to U of M, and he said, why are you even going? aren't you gonna take over the business? I said, I will when the time comes, but right now I'm gonna get an education. And to me, education was really something that one must have, and that's how I got into the education field
And
now.
we're going to talk about that in a few minutes.
But that's kind of my reasoning behind it, is that I wanted to do something that was not comfortable for me, that was not known entity, and I said I'm going to do it.
But you were not just computer savvy, you were extraordinarily computer savvy. And where did that lead you?
Well, from there, after graduating, I actually worked for Honeywell, because in the 80s everybody worked for Honeywell that time. And when we were getting married, I said I'm gonna get out of the snow, and I'm gonna go into somewhere that's nice, sunny. And we moved to San Diego, and I took over a company over there called Land Systems, and it was a technology integration company. And it was really learning on the fly, reading manuals, books. So I applied my technology background, the computer science background, but I didn't want to sit behind the desk and program. I mean, that's not my personality, that's not what I wanted to do. So I said I want to get out into the businesses. So I used my business background as well as the computer background, and really got into integrating the networks, if you will. And it was fantastic, it was a lot of fun. And went over into the technology sector, loved it because it was innovative, it was fun. But when it was time to raise a family, from San Diego, we moved back to our roots. Which
You came back here for the weather?
We came here for the weather, exactly, and the people like you. Minnesota is just a wonderful community to bring up kids and family, for that matter. So we said it's time to go home, because this is where we were brought up, and we loved the four season. I'm looking forward to the fall and the winters, and
It will be here some week soon.
somewhere soon, which is perfect.
No, some
afternoon.
weeks soon. That's,
But yeah, so then I was recruited actually back here into a technology sector with U.S. West Quest at that time, or later on, and I got in technology, and loved it. But I knew that I wanted to do something beyond technology.
But you really worked your way up in Quest.
Well, yes. So I started as an engineer, then I started within the consultancy, then got into management, and I managed a great team of engineers at Quest. Met a wonderful community there, and made a lot of friends. And I have many friends still at Quest, now CenturyLink. A little plug-in for CenturyLink, but that's how you grow. And one of the things that I believed in is, if you don't have that passion.
Not everybody, in addition to the passion, has the talent, because as we look at you, you have really climbed the ladder, but you have gotten to the top of everything that you wanted to do or have desired to do. And that's not just passion. That's also intelligence, that's your education.
You're too kind.
That's your personality
you're
as
too
well.
kind. I would like to feel like I have all this talent, but I would tell you there's so many elements into what happens in somebody's life. There are opportunities that are presented. Either you jump on it or you go beyond it, and there's wonderful opportunities that have come my way, and a lot of it is just fortune. A lot of it is the hand that you're dealt, and now you have to figure out how you're going to play that hand. And I always take that with a challenge and with a grain of salt, that it's a new day and you've got to wake up with full of energy. And that's kind of my motto all along, is positive energy creates positive results, because you have to look anything with a glass half full, and that's kind of what I do. So when opportunity come, I don't hesitate it, I just jump. And so when you said come on over, Rajiv, I said let's do it. So it's kind of fun.
Now, we met at a Park Square Theater. Really, I don't know if it was a fundraiser or a gathering or what it was.
Right.
We've been members of Park Square for many years. You are now on the board of directors of Park Square.
Right.
And I understand you're also on the board of directors of the Children's Theater.
Yeah. Theater, to me, just arts in general, are a huge part of my value system, because I think art is an integral part of our society, and it's something that we should nurture and we should grow. Arts currently, in the economic mode we're in, they're having some challenges, because majority of the art centers that are nonprofit, So nonprofits are going through tough time.
Unfortunately, there is a party in power both in the country and here in Minnesota which doesn't think that arts are a priority. I happen to feel otherwise, but if we look back in history, we will see what has sprung from the arts and
Absolutely.
what the arts have contributed, whether it's literature or whether it's theater or whether it is really the stage, anything, motion pictures today, so much a part of our society and so necessary in our society.
You're absolutely right, and that's something that I think the general public doesn't see it because we're so busy chasing dollars. We're so busy not seeing the simple things, or technology for that matter, that is really dwarfing the essence of humanity. So that's one of the things that I said, how do I give back to society? And for me, it was participating, whether it's on the board or going to various theater. I don't watch a lot of TV. As a matter of fact, our TV hardly ever goes on, ever. And we don't go to movies. So our entertainment, my wife and I, is to...
But don't tell any of our students here you don't go to movies, because they're all in the cinema program at MCTC. So we'll strike that from the
Not to say
DVD.
the movies aren't important. They're also art, but live theater, there's just a different dimension to that. And it's not even just about theater. It's just all forms of art, whether it's dance or theater or a movie. But you have to have cognizant value and make an effort to reach out to that.
Now, another interesting aspect of your life is that you met a woman by the name of Sangeeta Jain.
Yep.
And how do I pronounce it?
Sangeeta.
Sangeeta
Yep.
Jain. And she arrived with her family at age 9 from India.
Yes. Just a coincidence, right? So, and she's originally from New Delhi. Wonderful parents, wonderful family value, and that was interesting because when we met at age 15, we were best of friends, and we clicked because our values were similar. Our values was about giving back to society, about doing the right things, and we just hit it off, and we were best of friends for over 5 years before we realized that this is something more than friendship.
And did you have a traditional Indian wedding?
We did. It was beautiful.
I wish I had known you then.
Matter of fact, our wedding was covered on Channel 11 News. I came on riding on a horse, and it was a huge celebration. And it was really first of the traditional weddings here in the Twin Cities. And it was.
There is something so moving and so colorful
absolutely.
about an Indian wedding ceremony.
So if any of your viewers want to get a glimpse, if they haven't gone to an Indian wedding, see Monsoon Wedding from the movie that came out a few years back. It gives you a little glimpse of it. It was made.
Yeah, and she has lectured at our school, as a matter of fact.
It was a beautiful film. But getting back to Sangeeta. Amazing individual, and it takes a village, it takes a team, and the things that we're able to accomplish is definitely part of what she does. And of course,
you had a child, you had a daughter.
Well, we have 4 daughters.
So you had one.
We have one biological
daughter, and then
we've adopted 3. So our oldest one, Priya, she's adopted from India, and when we were even teenagers, as we were having fun dialogue, we said we're going to do something to give back to the world. And so we went to India, Sangeeta and I, and we're sitting in the courtroom, and the judge is looking around saying, where are the parents? And because they were expecting somebody in their 30s and 40s, here we are in our 20s, saying we'd like to, we're here for our daughter. And it was the absolute most amazing thing that we've ever done.
You have now adopted 3
daughters,
of
yes.
your 4 daughters.
Yeah, and they're each and every one of them is just absolutely stunning.
Ages?
And so Priya is 21, Sonali is 19, who goes to Wash U in St. Louis, and my third one is Sonia, 14. She's full of a lot of life and energy, and what keeps me young and motivated is my 6-year-old, who just rules the house basically. But all fun personalities.
That's what happens with the young one.
Exactly. So we figured that we're always going to be surrounded by children, and the amount of love and energy that they give you.
But
Can't be
again,
honest.
this is not a traditional, in quotes, American relationship, because where is Sanjita?
So it's in terms of
What she does in her life?
oh, she's so active. So she's a magistrate judge in Hennepin County, so she's involved with that. She sits also on several boards of different organizations. Lots of passion for social justice, for giving back to communities. And when you have two individuals that are passionate about that, it really, you can see the differences.
Once we stagger through the election period, she's going to come on and be a guest on this show.
I think it should be fantastic
But,
because she has just infinite amount of energy. I just look at her and I say, where do you get that energy? Because she can be in 10 different places
and very vivacious also.
yeah. It's, just a beautiful, fun person to be around.
So here you are on top of the world, working with a Fortune 500 company, and suddenly you decide,
Suddenly
this is
I
not
take
what
a
I
left-
want to
yeah.
what I want to do with my
Yeah.
life.
So I take the left turn and I said, there's something beyond just sitting at your desk or meeting with people, but emails after emails. When you get 200 or 300 emails a day that you have to respond to, you have to wonder whether that's all there is to it. And conference calls. So technology, while it's great and wonderful, it also has kind of stifled our imagination, stifled kind of our essence of being. And so I just said, I have to do something that really gets to the basic root, that really pulls on my heart, that really invigorates me in a way that you wake up in the morning with different energy.
And how did you come up with the Creative Kids Academy, which is really now expanded to 7 locations all over the Twin Cities area?
So that's what I was talking about, the opportunities. When the opportunities come your way, you kind of either pass them by or jump on them. So one of my good friends, he's in this real estate business and an agent for businesses. So he calls, he said, I want you to take a look at this. I know that in the past you've talked about getting involved in kids' lives, and this business came along that the owner wanted to retire, and we looked at it. We said we have a lot of potential because it's really a child care business, but it can be much more into a school and early education setting.
Again, imagination and creativity.
Yep. So we blended some of the program from Montessori and from the literacy programs, and giving it a lot of colors into the center, hand-painted murals, just a lot of energy into that whole program. And I didn't ever look back. So when we jumped in, I left my work at 11:30 in the afternoon, and I headed over to our new business, and I said, let's do this thing, because this is something that I couldn't imagine doing anything else. And when you go in with that much confidence, you know you have a chance to succeed.
And the Creative Kids Academy has become very well known. You take children from, I would say, infancy,
Right.
basically geared to preschool, but you'll
Preschool.
take them beyond that also.
Yeah, so the program is around from 6 weeks to 12 years of age, but our sweet spot is in the preschool arena. One of the things that you had mentioned about adoption, and one of the things we notice is that the sooner you really provide that nurturing environment, the nutritional values, the social aspect to the children, those values then get kind of embedded into them by age 5. So if you focus on that age group where you really are focused on making sure that these kids are going to be leaders of our society, then you can make a difference. And that's what I wanted to do. So getting them in the infancy program, getting them graduated into the different levels of our, from toddlers to preschool, to our school age. We have a school age program as well for before and after school. So what we do is that if a parent, and we pick them up, we drop them to school and we pick them up from school. But if the children want to do homework during that time,
You have small buses.
we have small buses.
Because
they're
I've
very
seen
cute.
Creative
Yep,
Kids Academy
we have
buses.
small buses, and they're wonderful, and we have excellent staff and teachers and directors, and that's what it takes. It takes, in the words of Hillary Clinton, it takes a village. You can't do it. Parents can't do it alone, so we really try to partner with them. Matter of fact, I was just coming from a couple of our centers, and today we had Grandparents' Day. And so where we invite the grandparents to just come and hang out with the children, read a book, have lunch, walk around their classroom. And for the child, that is so important to see. Wow, my
Now,
grandma.
there are facilities for lunchrooms in all of these centers?
Well, they're not specifically lunch rooms, but we have, we
An
serve
area,
lunch.
right.
So in our program, we have a morning breakfast, we have a morning snack, then we provide lunch, then we provide an afternoon snack. Because if the kids are fed and they're given that energy, they're going to be available to learn more. They're going to be available to absorb the information that's given. So that's pretty important.
I was reading up on it, and I saw that the curriculum is based on creativity, the arts, and nature.
Right. And the program is called Creative Curriculum, but it's beyond just the word creative curriculum. It's giving the empowerment to the teacher, having certain expectations of the teachers, is that you have to nurture, you have to look at all aspect of that child. So if there's something unique about that child, you bring that out, and you should also communicate back to the parent. Our job as
That's
educator,
sort of the Montessori theory.
correct. But in Montessori, it is very structured, and it is very I don't want to use the word dull, but it's kind of subtle. And what I wanted to add to that, into our program, is more color, more vibrancy, a little bit more leisureness, in the sense that you can go to a particular station and explore. And but our job as teachers, educators, nurturers, isn't to judge that child, is to understand them, take the strengths from them, understand their weaknesses, and make sure that we're communicating back to the parents, so that way there could be early intervention if there are any other issues that are lingering behind there.
And the fact of the matter, from what I read, the children flourish in this.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's a basic formula, and each child is different, so the formula is applied by your observation, by communication, by the nurturing. Children are very smart. At infancy, they know what your mood is, right? So if you're in a bad mood, they're going to be in a bad mood. So I tell my teachers, have that positive attitude. Tomorrow's another day. Don't take everything so seriously. Have fun with them, laugh with them, because that's what life is about.
And
right?
particularly with preschool, Art Rolnick is certainly one who has made great inroads in the education in that area. You get back 12 to 13 times what you put in by having a good preschool education. So when that child goes to kindergarten, that child is really, really ready.
And you mentioned Art Rolnick. He is probably one of the leading proponent of early education. He has been on numerous talk shows. Recently he was with Mr. R.T. Ryback, and they had a healthy debate about the stadium going in and the amount of money that is being poured into that. And then what if that same amount of money or similar resources were going into early education? What type of return? Because his studies have shown, and he's done a lot of research as to what those outcomes would be, and it's astonishing what you see back, like you said, 12, 13 times fold. Because these individuals, if you invest in now, they're going to be leaders of our society. They're going to give back to our society.
Now, where are your locations at this time? And I say you're expanding so rapidly, who knows?
Well, the expansion isn't truly by choice or by opportunity, but we wanted to provide our services, and I truly call this service, into the communities as much as possible. So when I look inside me and I say, okay, we can make a difference in the lives of 4 children, we can certainly make a difference in lives of much more. So I don't know where this thing is going to go, but we have one in Anoka, Centerville, Lexington, Mounds View. We opened up in Maple Grove and Minnetonka, and then our new one is an exciting location. It's in Orono, and it used to be an elementary school that was owned by Mr. William Cooper, CEO of TCF, and it was a private school. that went out of business in 2009, and I looked at the building and I said, wow, this is such a beautiful building, historical
Is this
building.
the 120-year-old
Yes,
building?
so this is the James J. Hill
that
School.
you really have preserved the
Absolutely,
building,
yeah.
but modernized it.
Modernized it, made
Yeah.
it, obviously compliance with today's codes and so on, and just made it a lot more welcoming and fun. And also we kind of revitalized that whole community, because that whole beautiful building was just sitting dormant, doing nothing. So we went in, we said, oh, this has a lot of potential. So I rolled up my sleeve, got my shorts, and throughout the whole summer we did a lot of renovation, and that's the fun of it, when you can see the transformation taking place.
You know, we have some vacancies here in Eagan.
Well, we'll see where it goes, but right now my regional director, Brandy, will tell you that her hands are full, and I've got such a great leadership team that they say, well, we're with you, wherever you want to go, let's do it. So I don't know what, where the 8th location is going to be, but I'm just such a fortunate individual to be able to lead this company and to make sure that we're providing quality programming. Speaking of quality programming, one of the things that I looked at is you can provide the education, you can provide all the fundamentals, but you have to then add the enrichments along with that. So we added a kids yoga program to deal with kind of their energy. And so every week our yoga teacher goes to various centers and has fun yoga classes. We have a music program where the music teacher will go and introduce children to the art of music. We have a Spanish program. So at the early age they're starting to understand a secondary language. And this age, they're sponges. You can give them anything and they will just digest it. And my belief was that I didn't want to say, Alan, your grandkids or kids can afford it, so I'm going to charge you $5 or $10 for whatever it may be, and somebody else I didn't want to charge. So we just made it available to everybody. So I don't charge extra for any of these programs.
An incredible story.
So
to be continued. We'll be at the Eagan opening, whenever that takes place, or Burnsville, or in our viewing area. But it's really the American success story. It's really the story of a family that arrived here virtually impoverished, but with a talent from India, and has really, really created something that makes us all not only give you respect, but really pride in what you have accomplished. And we've been talking with Rajiv Garg, and the website is available. It's up online. By all means, contact him. Incredible story, incredible family. I can only wish you well.
thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Alan.